A restful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
Guys, when you buy your clothes at DXL, you look good. But you feel like a rock star. So if you want to look and feel like a... You'll find all the brands you love, waist size 38 and up, all in one awesome store. DXL. You're looking good. Right now, select dress shirts are just $49.50 each when you buy 2 or more.
Good morning, 9:02. Mark Westwood here with you, giving you the weather for today. Well, if you can't tell already, it's nice outside. Mostly sunny. Some fog here and there below the canyons and passes. Otherwise, highs 81 to 86 today. Mostly clear tonight, lows 50 to 56. Currently 69 degrees at Kcaa as we take a look at Inland Empire weather. In Redlands, we've got some stop-and-go traffic, I-10 westbound between Ford Street and Tennessee Street. Out in Corona, we've got stop-and-go traffic 91 westbound between McKinley Street and Green River Road. In Moreno Valley, the usual slow traffic, slow and go as it goes on I-215 northbound between Cactus and Columbia Avenue. And in good news in Rancho Cucamonga, the accident out there has been cleared on the 210 westbound approaching Day Creek Boulevard, but you still have some stoplights and tail lights and slowing out there, so give yourself some extra time. This weather and traffic report brought to you by the station that leaves no listener behind. You got it. KCAA 1050 AM.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
Like to spend a few days in another world? Then write this down. Golden Bear Cottages, Big Bear Lake. Now, listen, this is not some corporate-owned operation. It's family-owned and operated by some real nice people. Unique? Oh, you bet. Golden Bear Cottages features 28 one-of-a-kind cabins on a 5-acre historic site. Great for families, couples, and groups. And cabins are available with 1 to 7 bedrooms. Golden Bear Cottages is just a stone's throw from Big Bear Lake and super close to 3 great ski areas. Now, I could go on all day about Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear, but to see everything, just go to goldenbear.net. Again, goldenbear.net. Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear. Clean, comfortable, and affordable. Check them out. goldenbear.net.
Come visit the all-new Tiger Trail at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Get an early start and have a bountiful buffet breakfast at Tiger Trail's Sambutan Longhouse while watching these majestic creatures. A tiger keeper will be on hand to share stories about these fascinating felines and will invite one of the tigers to join the session. Then explore the Tiger Trail's 5.2 acres, watch the tigers climb rocks, swim in ponds, and nap in tall grasses. See these beautiful animals up close, all at the new Tiger Trail at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Go to SanDiegoZooSafariPark.org.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate, to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay.
Every Thursday night at 7 on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050.
KCAA. Would you wait several days for your shower to get hot? Would you wait several days to feel the full effect of relief from your nasal congestion? Flonase Allergy Relief Nasal Spray could take that long. But if you're congested now and you want powerful relief now, use Afrin No Drip. Afrin starts working in seconds and keeps working for 12 hours. So why wait several days to feel the full effect? When you can start to get relief in seconds with Afrin. Afrin, powerful congestion relief without the wait. Use as directed.
For more local radio every day, tune into KCAA Loma Linda.
This is The Ray Lucia Show.
Coming to the best for the answers here.
The one show that helps you make better money moves and provides strategies and solutions for your biggest financial challenges.
You guys talk about a lot of really good information that even I can understand.
Call Ray now at 844-RAY-SHOW. 844-RAY-SHOW. This is The Ray Lucia Show.
Welcome. The Ray program beginning an hour of money power, inviting all of our radio and television listeners nationwide and coast to coast to tune in because today's show is promising to be a wicked good one. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Ray Lucia. 844-RAY-SHOW is the number, 844-729-7469. Emails a little bit later on in the program, raylucia.com. RAYLUCIA.com. Bobby Wu back in the house. Hello there, Bobby.
Hey, good to be here, Ray.
Welcome back. We'll have Lynn Rowe on the program coming up in just a little bit. Lynn, a certified financial planner, and I've got lots of stuff to talk with Lynn about, some of which she knows about, most of which she does not, because I pull some punches on her from time to time. No, seriously, I want to ask her about what a partnership plan is. And you should know about this as well if you want to preserve some of your assets someday. But we start with Gatorama. Sit back, relax. The Ray Revolution starting on the Good Life Network right here. Oh, no, it's the Biz Talk Radio and TV Network. Thank you very much. And we appreciate them. In fact, I'm going to be in Dallas a week from today, meeting with the fine folks there. Mr. Ed.
Fantastic.
No, that's the real Mr. Ed. He's the big cheese.
The big horse around there.
And Scotty. Well, beam me up, Scotty. Hey, listen, I'm driving around this past weekend, and I'm listening to one of the Fox shows. I don't know if it was the Fox News Channel or Fox Business or Foxy Chicks. I don't know what I was listening to. But I heard this thing called the Strange Inheritance Show. And it reminded me a lot of many conversations that I've had in my several years, 38 some odd years, in the financial planning business as an advisor. And many times I sat around the table like the one I'm sitting at today, where you had the husband, the wife, who wanted to transfer the family business over to the kids. But there was a problem with that. The problem was one set of kids were active in the business and the other 13 kids had nothing to do with the business. Well, this particular headline was Family Fights Over Family Business. 3 sets of kids. One, I guess the daughter and her husband wanted to work in the family business. What was the family business? Or is, I should say, the family business? Gatorama. Down in Florida, alligators. Now you can understand why the other 2 kids didn't want to have anything to do with it. Anyway, evidently a fairly successful business, but as they were planning their estate, it was pretty evident that the other kids were going to be fighting over the family business because the family business had worth. And the kids working in the business have skin in the game. But you know, I've had this conversation with my wife before. She plays even Steven. Even Steven. You know what? But honey, we have a family business and our son runs the family business. She says, I don't care. I love my son, but I love my other son and I love the 2 daughters too, just as much. Okay, well, I do too, but there's that skin in the game sort of thing. Now, in our case, we didn't have any family feuds over it, but evidently, and I didn't hear the whole program, but many, many families have had feuds over the inheritance. In this case, a pretty strange one, no doubt. So how do you deal with families that own businesses where some of the kids are invested in that business with time and energy and have accrued some value, and then the other kids are not? Okay, so, and this is a serious dilemma because let's say the business is worth $2 million and the total estate is, you know, the business and their house. How are you going to divvy it up so that my wife, Jeannie, is happy with the even Steven deal? Well, yeah, I mean, obviously they could have had, in this case, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And then the people that are working in the business have to, you know, have board meetings with the other 2 kids that know nothing about gators they have a say-so in it. In fact, they could even get outvoted because 2/3 of the votes don't even work in the business. One of the guys lost his middle finger to a gator. Chop. Just like that. Bingo. Gone. Yeah. So that's not right. That's not fair. The kids that have put in the sweat equity obviously have generated a certain value unto themselves. And so when I was faced with this dilemma as an advisor, if they didn't have enough other assets to go around, and in some respects, it's not necessarily fair even to the kids that get the business, because when they get the business, they get the debt, the risk, et cetera, that goes with that particular business. And how many businesses fail in America? Just blink your eye and one just failed. Blink again and another one just failed. They're failing all the time. Even really good businesses like Gatorama. I don't know if it's a good business or not. It's not my cup of tea, although I've been there and it's kind of cool to watch the Gators down in Florida, wherever it is, the Alligator Alley. Driven that before. Got stuck in Alligator Alley once.
Did you ever try eating alligator?
I did once. It didn't do much for me. They say it tastes like chicken. Everything tastes like chicken. In either event, here's how you solve that problem in my mind, okay? The inheritance, and when you're doing your estate plan with your team, your lawyer, your CPA, your financial advisor, maybe your banker, you want to sit down and articulate quite clearly what you want to have happen. And then let the advisors fight it out as to how to make that happen. But the success that I've had in the past with this is to be able to say, listen, you need to create a certain amount of liquidity based on the valuation of the business. So you start with the alligator business. I think they determined it was worth $1 million. Let's use that as a number. I don't know. I didn't hear the whole thing. So $1 million. Now, certainly the kids working in the business, and I don't know how many years they worked in the business, but there should be an allocation of their sweat equity toward ownership. So maybe because they've worked in the business, 25% they get a free ride on, because they're also assuming all of the risk of it. I'm making this up, by the way. You do this with your family, you may not give them an extra 25%. Maybe they just started working in the business. Maybe they haven't even worked in the business yet. I don't know. But to me, it would only make sense if they've spent the last 10 years helping to grow that business. Then clearly they have some arbitrary ownership, if you will, in what they have contributed to the business. So I would always recommend that they do a valuation and discount that valuation to the extent of the contribution made by the kids that worked in the business. I don't think the other family members would have a beef with that. This guy lost a finger, in his case, to the alligator. That's quite a bit of sweat equity right there.
You're an idiot.
So let's just assume that the discounted business by 25%, so that leaves 75% left over for the other three kids. In this example of $1 million, it's $250,000 each. $250,000 for the kids that are involved in the business, and $250,000 for each of the other kids. So how do you deal with that $500,000? I would suggest that the best way to deal with that is upon the death of either the second spouse or even the first spouse, if spouse B wasn't going to work in the business, so that the kids that weren't involved in the business at some point in their life, it may not be exactly tomorrow, but at some point in time in their life, would get a disproportionate inheritance based on the terminal value of the estate at death. So it would be a third on everything, except the business goes to the working couple, and $250,000 each in life insurance proceeds go to the remaining kids, so that from heaven, mom and dad can look down and say, we accomplished the even Steven deal that my wife is so committed to from our perspective, because with our 4 kids, she wants everybody to have an equal share of whatever we have, even if it meant our businesses. Not easy, but doable. This is why you need to have a team sitting around the table going through what are the problems, what are the issues, and what are some of the solutions. There's one. All right, Lynn Rowe, I'll get a chance to talk to Lynn about that. I didn't get a chance to talk about the 7 ways to destroy your wealth and guarantee you spend your life in poverty. But since she's a CFP, I'll bet you she can comment on that too. Lynn Rowe coming up next, 844-RAY Show. Don't go away, Ray Lucia here.
This is your last chance to save 75% off hip-hop abs. If you want to shed the fat and sculpt your core to get those sexy, toned abs of your dreams, then stop doing sit-ups.
Say what?
And start dancing with Hip Hop Abs, the fun new ab sculpting system that takes the world's hottest dance moves and turns them into ab sculpting, fat-burning routines, so you don't even feel like you're working out.
I love to dance. You forget that you're working out. I was a 12 when we started. I'm 6 now. I lost the muffin top. It's just tight.
That's because Hip Hop Abs was created by fitness expert and insanity creator Shaun T.
I don't want you to ever get down on the floor to do crunches again. I'm gonna break it down so you burn the fat and sculpt those abs fast. All you need to do is tilt, tuck, and tighten.
Tilt, tuck, and tighten are Shaun's fun, easy-to-follow moves designed to tone and tighten your upper abs, middle abs, lower abs, and obliques, all while you're just dancing.
What you're looking at now is 2 months of some really hard tilt, tucking, and tightening. I don't have the love handles. I don't have the back fat anymore.
I went from a size 18 to a size 2. I have abs now. I've got 6-pack.
And now for a limited time, the complete $80 Hip Hop Abs system is 75% off.
Say what?
That's right. Hip Hop Abs is only $19.95, but only while supplies last. Call now and we'll even upgrade you to express shipping free. But it gets even better. We'll also include Shaun's 6-day slim down so you can lose up to 3 inches off your waist in your first 6 days. And this $60 value is yours to keep no matter what. That's the complete Hip Hop Abs system. Over $60 in bonuses and a free upgrade to express shipping, all for only $19.95. This offer is too good to last.
Call 1-800-713-7913 or order online at gethiphopabs.com. 1-800-713-7913.
Are your student loans making life miserable? Optimum Student Solutions can now help consolidate your federal student loans. That's right, we can help lower your monthly payment on your federal student loans. In some cases, you can lower your monthly payments in half. It doesn't matter how much you owe, even if you are in default on your federal student loans. Just call us right now and find out if you qualify for these substantial savings. We'll help you remove your default status, lower your monthly payments, and stop wage garnishments. Let our experts eliminate the confusion and find the best payment solution for you. All you have to do is make the call. If you are a teacher, nurse, police officer, firefighter, or work for a nonprofit, new federal programs are available that may have a portion of your student loan forgiven. Stop worrying and start saving. Call now, 800-375-1159. That's 800-375-1159. Get free information. Call now, 800-375-1159. That's 800-375-1159.
Hi, everybody. Ray Lucia here. You know, we just saw the biggest jump in mortgage rates in more than 25 years. So now it's more important than ever to lock in your loan with a professional who has a thorough understanding of this wild mortgage market. That pro, Steve Alidord, the loan financial planner from Rancho Financial. Steve is one of the top 1% of mortgage originators in the entire country. And for years, Steve has worked with me, my family members and friends, and in most cases will close your loan in 30 days or less. Time is critical if you're ready to buy or refi. No one knows where rates will go next. Learn the advantages of working with a direct lender who can fast-track your loan. Steve Alidord can calculate which program is best for you and educate you about all of your options. Call the loan financial planner, Steve Alidord, at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070. Or watch Steve's free home loan webinar at loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station for the Inland Empire.
Hey, welcome back, folks. The Ray program, 844-RAY show. Stick around. I got an investor summit, the Accredited Investor Summit, coming up in Portland, Oregon on May 30th at the Hotel Monaco. All you need to do is go to accreditedinvestorsummit.com and get more information. We'll tell you more about that momentarily. But first, let me say hi to Lynn Rowe, certified financial planner. Did you hear me talking about the Gator story?
I did.
Interesting. Have you seen that show, Strange Inheritance?
I have.
Very interesting show, isn't it?
It's a fascinating show.
So this particular case, you got 3 kids. One set of the kids is working with a husband and wife, I should say, working in the gator business. One guy loses a finger to some alligator.
Skin in the game, literally.
Definitely skin in the game. And the other 2 kids have nothing to do with the business, and they're fighting over the family fortune. Now, I know you as an advisor have been put in that situation before, but did you agree with my analysis of the whole situation?
Well, I was sitting there thinking life insurance is the obvious solution, because then you can allocate cash to the people who really don't want to be tied down to a business and give the business, if you will, to the children.
And what about the valuation aspect, where you value the company, giving the kids that have some skin in the game, realistically, a little bit higher ownership, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
Done that before.
Sure. And
it seems to work out very well. And then whether you used a second to die insurance policy or a first to die, depending on whether the husband or the wife would continue on and running the business after one spouse died, I think it's really the only way, unless there's a bunch of other cash assets that you can divvy up for the kids. But usually, and you know this,
business owners don't have cash. They are like making payroll. They've got inventory, and they've got
even if they did. Most business owners I know, like 90% of their net worth is tied up in that particular business, right?
Exactly.
That's also the reason why back in the day when we had, estate tax issues, we don't now with most businesses, but back in the day it was, the best solution to create liquidity upon death. Your business, the whole subject of insurance planning. I like how I segued into you being here today.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Now, the topic for my discussion, though, that I didn't get to last segment, 7 ways to destroy your wealth and guarantee you spend your life in poverty. It reminds me of Ben, Ben Stein, my good friend Ben. He wrote a book, How to Ruin Your Financial Life, some years back, and he would go on the speaking circuit. He and I were out on the speaking circuit, and one year that was what he would talk about.
Right.
This was before the economy went in the sewer, and we had the 2008 crash and all that stuff. So Ben's job was to go out and tell people how they were going to destroy their financial life in a fairly funny, humorous, but compelling way, and then I would do my thing. But this fellow, Joshua Keenan, wrote the following, and I just your comments. Trade as frequently as possible. We know that you shouldn't be an active trader. Build a portfolio of companies with PE ratios at least 3 times as high as the S&P. Yeah, you don't want to buy the sexy stuff.
.com.
Dot everything, or EI or whatever, EIEIO.
Yes.
Put together assets with tons of correlated risk. Buy Pepsi and Coke. Only buy stocks you don't understand. Buy shares with high accruals and lots of stock options. In other words, get diluted to nothing. Pay the maximum taxes and penalties as possible, and maximize your non-deductible debt. My suspicion is you have a couple of other ways to ruin your financial life.
Well, mine are more lifestyle type things rather than, the head financial type things. But the first one that comes to mind is divorce.
Is that why you never got married? To avoid the trials and tribulations of divorce?
We aren't going there, Ray.
Okay.
We aren't going.
All right.
But, you've heard the horror stories. It just costs enormous sums of money to do this.
You hear this country song?
I do hear this.
DIVORCE. There's also been studies that have come out that say married couples live longer and live healthier lives.
Absolutely. In fact, insurance companies acknowledge that, because when you get long-term care insurance, for example, there is a marital discount. Why would they give them a marital discount? Well, part of the reason is they have a healthier life, and the participant, the primary participant in the caregiving next to that caregiver that's provided by the insurance company is oftentimes the spouse. The spouse is there to make sure everything's done properly, to give direction, to help out in the evenings, that kind of thing. So it increases the probability of that person living a healthy and longer life.
Now, when you got together with Terry and got my long-term care insurance some years back for Jeannie and I don't remember, what kind of a discount did we get?
Well, generally speaking, most carriers do 30%.
Wow, did I get that big of a discount?
No, there's a carrier that if you are married, but only one of you applies, let's say one of you is uninsurable, you still can get the 15.
Really?
Yes. They acknowledge, again, that the life expectancy and the health of that individual are enhanced by having their spouse with them.
Okay. I was reading online about the partnership plans.
Yes.
And I wanted you to address that because every once in a while you have to remind me that the
works.
Partnership plans are interesting, and they do enable individuals to keep a little more money to leave over for the kids. Since we're talking about Gatorama here, let's talk about Partnership Rama.
Sure. Well, the partnership plan, let's talk about the non-partnership plan first. The non-partnership plan basically says in most states that you have to, after you've exhausted the long-term care insurance and you start to use your own assets to pay for your care, assuming you still need care, you have to exhaust your assets down to $2,000 before you're eligible for any kind of public assistance, as in Medicaid. Well, with the partnership plan, let's say you've got a $200,000 pool of money in your partnership plan, and you've used up that policy. Well, then they say that you have to spend down to the $200,000 mark, and then they will participate. So you protect the same amount in assets, if you will, that you had in the plan.
So are most of the carriers that you work with involved in this so-called partnership?
Yes. The partnership, however, some carriers aren't, and it depends on the state. It truly depends on the state.
So let me see if I get this right. So this still happens, you still have to exhaust your long-term care insurance policy first.
Yes.
And then whatever amount that you exhausted or used, you get to maintain as assets, sacrosanct, if you will, to any Medicaid.
That's correct.
That's a pretty good deal. I mean, it's a way for you to preserve more assets for the kids. So it would seem to me that if you're going to buy long-term care, you'd want to have it coordinated with the partnership if it's at all possible.
Right. Now, there's hoops to jump through with each state. The hoops have to do with the level of benefits that you buy or the COLA that you get on the plan and so on. So you're not going to be able to buy the skinny mini plan and qualify for partnership.
All right. Well, skinny mini is not any language that we Italians and Sicilians understand. Now, if you said, the Fat Mama plan, with all due respect to Mother's Day and everything, we would understand that a little bit better. Stick around, because when we come back, I will be asking Lynn Rowe, why in the heck don't people buy this stuff? Why don't you buy long-term care insurance? She will answer that question, among many others, so don't go away. 844-RAY-SHOW is the number. We'll also clue you in on the Hotel Monaco breakfast. I was talking about the fat mamas and dadas. That'll be us at the Hotel Monaco with this phenomenal, omelet bar, scones, the whole deal. Don't go away. I'm making myself hungry here.
Did you?
This is KCAA. California headline news. Senator Dianne Feinstein says ISIS poses new challenges for anti-terrorism fighters.
It's a force that we really haven't seen before, and we have to begin to cope more seriously with it. And that includes social media.
Feinstein, a guest on NBC's Meet the Press. 5 Californians indicted on grand theft and recycling fraud charges.
People have been importing
beverage containers from outside of California and then bringing them into the state and claiming California redemption value on them. That's illegal because no California redemption value was ever paid on those containers.
Mark Oldfield with Kcaa Recycle. A 31-year-old woman is killed on Mother's Day while driving her 2 young children. Their vehicle sideswiped by a car driven by an 86-year-old man. One of the cars apparently crossed the center line. The man also critically injured. Geico weather, mostly sunny, dry, seasonal temperatures today. Cooling off and some rain middle of the week. Jeff Scott, California News.
And now, a touching moment. Well, staying in touch with Geico.
I remember it like it was yesterday. As I downloaded the Geico app, a bluebird landed on my finger. I said, "Hey, Mr. Bluebird, did you know you can add a car to your Geico policy with just a tap of your finger? Just scan the VIN number. It's so easy." After that, we watched the sunset together and ate birdseed. The birdseed tasted super weird, but the sunset was nice.
VIN scanning to add a car. Just a few taps away on the Geico app.
Hey, California here with Geico to give you some interesting information. People like to say it only takes 20 minutes to get anywhere depending on traffic, but it takes even less time if you own a motorcycle. I mean, we all know that you're not just part of a club because you own one, you're part of a family. And in this family, the mother of all motorcycle insurance is Geico. With their competitive rates and emergency roadside service, they'll have you riding worry-free from Cali all the way to the Forn-IA.
Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save.
The difference between us and the other stations? We like you. We really, really like you. AM 1050 KCAA.
9:32, 72 degrees, and now it's time for Fred Wallen with sports on KCAA. Fred, are you there?
KCAA, where every day is a great day. KCAA, Loma Linda.
It's time for some delicious food at Pizza Dilly. Pizza Dilly Pizza in Colton, home of the famous 2-foot pizza with 32 slices of simply the best delicious Pizza Dilly mouth-watering pizza. Pizza Dilly has all kinds of lunch specials Monday through Friday, starting at $3.99, all delicious. Stop by, refresh, refuel, have a cold drink, enjoy a tasty salad or a great specialty Dillylicious sub sandwich, or simply Dilly-lightful Pizza Dilly wings. Pizza Dilly is also People Dilly because your friends are all already there enjoying one of Pizza Dilly's giant screens, watching one of their favorite teams, and if you love the Dodgers, you'll love Pizza Dilly, your hometown Dodger station, all year round. Come on in, enjoy a great pizza, enjoy Pizza Dilly, the real Dilly deal at 194 East Valley Boulevard in Colton, or call 909-370-0242. Once again, that's 909-370-0242.
From the KCAA Community Calendar, I'm Mark Westwood. Everyone's talking about the Third Thursdays in San Bernardino. Rediscover the city of San Bernardino Third Thursday Food Truck Fest. Switch up your lunchtime routine. Try the gourmet food trucks every third Thursday from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Court Street parking lot between E and D Streets in downtown San Bernardino. Enjoy delicious, tasty food from the food trucks such as the Slam and Sliders food truck, Farmer's Belly, the Bacon Mania truck, Piaggio on Wheels, or the Greasy Wiener. All kinds of mouth-watering delights, hot off the truck, and plenty to eat. Put an end to dull, boring fast food and truck on over to City Hall in San Bernardino for the Third Thursday Food Truck Fest in downtown San Bernardino. For more info, check out Rediscover San Bernardino's Facebook page at facebook.com/SB Third Thursdays. That's SBTHIRD Thursdays. That's a look at the KCAA Community Calendar. I'm Mark Westwood.
KCAA.
She's a killer queen, got body agility, dynamite with a laser beam, guaranteed to blow your mind. Recommended at the price.
You know, one thing we talk about all the time in this program is making sure that in your portfolio you have so-called non-correlating investments. Because, well, let's face it, We talked about the cyclically adjusted price-to-earnings ratio last week being at very, very high ratios, 27 compared to an average of 16. That would portend that the market may not do as well as many would like it to do over the next decade or so. It's not a good short-term predictor, but it's been a very good long-term predictor of where the stock market goes from here. Of course, you've had Jeremy Grantham and many other billionaire money managers, not billionaire, but I don't know, he may be a billionaire for all I know, but I know he manages over $100 billion, and he seems to think so. So we want to have some assets in the portfolio that don't necessarily correlate with the high prices in stocks, and I dare say the high prices in bonds. With interest rates at record lows, bonds trading at record highs, where do you go from here? That's what the Accredited Investor Summit is all about. We're coming to Portland, Oregon on the 30th of this month, the 30th of May. Call 888-629-1299. We will feed you. Get your bellies full, because we're going to have about 3 hours of content that you're not going to want to miss. Non-correlating asset classes. Go to accreditedinvestorsummit.com, accreditedinvestorsummit.com, or just simply call 888-629-1299. Back with Lynn Rowe. You know, before the break, I asked you a question.
Yes.
Why in the heck don't people buy long-term care insurance, all right? Well, because I can only go back to my particular case. I still have bruises on my fanny from your little tiny size 4 shoes
years.
kicking me. And finally, I was talked into it, unfortunately not by you, but by my wife. Why don't people buy this stuff?
Well, Ray, I'll tell you there are lots of reasons, and there are 5 that come to mind immediately, but the first one is we can't afford it.
Can't afford it, don't want to pay the money for it.
Yep, and what I try to get past this. When you go to buy a house, you have a budget. In fact, you get pre-qualified, so you have a budget. When you go to buy a car, you have a budget. So if it costs more than that, chances are you aren't going to buy a car.
But most people haven't budgeted long-term care into their budget.
But they can look at cash flow, or they can look at assets, and we can eyeball those and say, okay, this is safe money, we can set it aside, or, you know, we're going to pay off the car this month, or, you know, Social Security is going to start coming in 2 months, and, you know, we really don't need that cash flow right now, or whatever it is.
Here, you know, you showed me something a week or 2 ago. There was a CD annuity that paid, like, over the next 6 years, it paid 3.1%. Then you showed me one that paid almost 2% over a 3-year period. So I'm sitting on a CD that's paying me 1/4 point for a year or 6 months, or a money market fund. Maybe I'm making 0.5%, and you can take it to 1.5%. I've got an extra 1% to spend.
And that was taxable, and this isn't.
Yeah, so you can, in fact, work with somebody, and I'm sure you do this, and just show them how to reposition assets, even in safe money accounts, that will potentially earn them more money, so they can afford to at least make room in a budget that they probably haven't made room for.
Why not let the interest on that money pay for the insurance?
Yeah, it's a good point. I also found an article here. I've got it here because I found it for you, and I haven't. Maybe I sent it to you. I'm not sure. Insurance swaps, another way to fund long-term care. It was in Financial Planning magazine. And there are now ways that individuals are saying, hey, you got this old life insurance policy you don't need. Why don't you just swap it out? Sell it to me being some hedge fund or some insurance guy. I like selling it to a public entity. And you can use that cash. You usually get 6 to 8 times the cash value out when you sell a policy as to, or compared to when you might just surrender it. That's another pretty decent way to create the cash to be able to pay for long-term care.
Well, you know, and that ties into another good point. There are actually plans where if care is imminent, someone is in care or they need care immediately and they have life insurance, we can actually take that life insurance and turn it into a long-term care payout.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the other thing is people saying I'm going to self-insure. That's where I was for a number of years.
One of my very favorites.
I'll just self-insure. What do I care if it only costs $137,000 in Connecticut? I don't live there.
Right.
I live in California. It costs $127,000.
Right. Well,
whatever the number.
You know, we've done the math on this, Ray. First of all, Fidelity already tells us that a couple over 65 can expect to spend about $250,000 on health care over and above their premiums for health care, over and above anything else out of their portfolio. So there's that off the table. Then if they spend equally as much or possibly more for long-term care, now you got $500,000 coming out of that portfolio. That's a chunk of change. And that's today's dollars. Let's inflate that. Let's just assume it's only 3% a year. Go out 20 years for the, say the 55-year-old. That's a chunk of change coming out of the portfolio.
Yeah, it could be in the 7 figures at some point.
Easily.
So self-insuring is not a good strategy.
It's not fiscally sound.
I'm never going to use it, Lynn. I'm never going to. It's not going to happen to me.
I know.
It's going to be you.
It's the seatbelt theory. Why buckle if I'm not going to get in an accident? I get it.
Good point.
But, the bottom line is that all couples over 65, 70% are going to need long-term care. 70. That's higher than any other thing you insure for today. And if you knew 70% chance that your portfolio was going to go down and you could buy insurance to protect it, wouldn't you do that? That's exactly what we're talking about. So with guys, you've got pretty good odds. Only 1 out of 2 of you is going to need it.
Here's something you'll never hear from me, but others have given me this excuse in the past.
Yes.
Well, I'll take care of her and she'll take care of me.
The I Love You Truly care plan. Yes. It's really, don't assume that when you become impaired or you're old enough to be feeble to need care, that she's going to be like staying where she was 20 years ago.
Or he, for that matter.
Or he.
Because he's going to croak and she's going to need long-term care, actuarially speaking.
Yep.
So it's the guy that's going to be stuck with taking care of the woman. How many of us are even qualified or capable of doing that? Come on.
I've known some really sad stories of guys who cared for their wives. One guy for 12 years.
Oof.
Yeah.
I want to just have somebody. That's why I'm delighted to pay that, whatever it is, $4,000 a year that I'm paying for the two of us.
Yep.
I'm happy to pay it because I want to take care of my wife in different ways if she needs that care. And I sure as heck don't want her with the burden of having to lift me around, Mr.
And you don't
Fatso.
want to lose the relationship, because when you become the caregiver, you're no longer the husband or the wife. You're the caregiver. And it's a whole different relationship.
The last one that I used to get is, I'll never die. I'll never need long-term care. People would actually say that. Nah, it's not going to happen to me for sure.
I don't plan on dying. That was my favorite. And that's true. We don't plan on those things. We don't plan on getting sick and we don't plan on dying. But you know what? They're inevitable. As Jean likes to say, we're all going to die and most of us are going to get sick beforehand. And that's just the bottom line. The question is for how long and for how serious. But assuming that for example, your family never needed care and you're going to continue that trend, that precludes accidents. What about accidents? And what about the fact that things like ALS and some of those things, you can't know. There's no history there. My brother had ALS, for Pete's sake, and no one in our family ever had ALS.
Yeah, you've had a couple of scary situations and unbelievably horrible situations, even in your own family, I'm sorry to say. But on a happier note.
Yes.
You sent me an email the other day that said something like yippee-ki-yay or whatever. I forget what you said. You had an individual that needed some kind of long-term care and couldn't get it because they didn't qualify.
Yes.
And you were able to help them. Can you explain that?
Well, and 70% of the claims going to insurance companies today are home care. People want to stay at home, and the insurance companies are delighted because they know they're going to get quality care, as we talked about before, because the spouse is going to be right there. So with that said, there are plans that will allow you to buy discounted hours of home care as opposed to discounted dollars of insurance plan, and you don't have to qualify for those.
That's incredible to me.
It's a wonderful
this,
plan.
What I feel really good about is these were long-time fans of the program.
Yes.
And they've met you through the show.
Yes.
And, you know, for years, weren't able to really help them until these new plans have come out.
Yeah.
This is why you need to have a relationship with somebody that stays in touch with everything that's going on, because this plan that you presented them didn't even exist a few years ago.
That's right. That's right.
Yippee-ki-yay. If you want a yippee-ki-yay, go to iwantmyltc.net, and if nothing else, establish a friendly relationship with Lynn Rowe, because she stays on top of what's happening in this particular field. One of the few people I know in the entire country that stays on top of this extremely exciting area of financial planning that I spent no time educating myself on, because I had Lynn. Yippee-ki-yay, or I want my LTC.
Everyone gets calluses, and getting rid of them can be a real pain. Until now. Introducing the all-new Pet Egg Power. It gently buffs away calluses, dry or dead skin, and gets rid of rough patches. Just look at these amazing results. Then switch to the smoothing roller and smooth your skin to perfection. The secret's the gentle nano-abrasion roller that spins at up to 2,000 RPMs to gently buff out the driest skin for smooth, sexy feet. Blade-free Pet Egg Power is safe and completely painless. Guaranteed. Pedicures are expensive, and similar products can cost almost $70. Get Pet Egg Power today for just $19.99. We'll even include our...
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 55 years. Carpet Masters uses extraction cleaning for your carpet because there's no better cleaning to remove the soil from your carpet. All of our furniture cleaning is done by hand in your home or in our plant. Carpet Masters also offers dry cleaning for fine furniture. Call Carpet Masters at 793-7215. That's 793-7215 for Carpet Masters.
Do you have a broken window or rock chip on your vehicle that needs repair? Give us a call at HM Auto Glass, 951-858-5190. HM Auto Glass is your locally owned and operated auto glass specialist, offering low cost and high quality auto glass repair and replacement. We also work with all major insurance companies and offer free mobile service. So call us, 951-858-5190. That number again is 951-858-5190.
When a big-name retailer finds its sales in a slow downward spiral, the geniuses in the executive suite often try to keep their profits up by cheapening their product and delivering less to customers. To see how well this strategy works, look no further than the declining sales at Walmart and McDonald's. When the geniuses in charge of these behemoths applied the cutback strategy, their slow decline turned into a perilous nosedive. You'd think their experience would keep other executives from making the same mistake, but here comes an even bigger and much more important retail behemoth saying, we have to cut to survive. That's the pronouncement last year by the honcho of the U.S. Postal Service, which has been eliminating employees, closing facilities, and reducing services for years. Each new round of reductions drives away more customers, which causes clueless executives to prescribe more cuts. In a January decree, USPS virtually eliminated overnight delivery of first-class mail, and is now planning to close or consolidate 82 regional mail processing plants. This means fewer workers handling the nation's growing load of mail, creating further delays in delivery. The answer to this, say the slap-happy executives, is, guess what? To cut even more service out of Postal Service. They want to close hundreds of our local post offices and eliminate Saturday mail delivery, which is one of USPS's major competitive advantages. This is Jim Hightower saying, fed up with the deliberate degradation of this vital public service, postal workers themselves are putting forth a vision and an innovative plan not merely for USPS to survive, but to thrive. With more than 70 other national groups, they've forged a grand alliance to save our public postal service. To be part of its actions, go to agrandalliance.org, agrandalliance.org.
This is KCAA.
Something's in our blood that doesn't belong there. It's man-made and can attack key organs. Join me, Elaine McFadden, host Smart Health Talk, this Sunday, 9 o'clock a.m. as top expert reveals, right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
This is KCAA.
Man, I'll tell you what, this hour has just flown by today. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We've learned a lot, haven't we, Bobby?
Oh, my goodness. I thought that's some pretty interesting and creative planning you guys were going through there.
Well, that's what we do, us planner types. Let's see, what did we cover today? The 7+ ways to destroy your wealth and guarantee you'll spend your life in poverty. We talked about that. We talked about how to avoid family disputes when passing on a family business. We talked about partnership plans and insurance swaps to pay for long-term health care. A whole bunch of good stuff. You might need to go to the little archive there. What do they call that?
The podcast.
The podcast. That's what it's called. You might want to do that. Go to raylucia.com and check it out. If you miss a little bit on this program, you miss a lot. What was your favorite part of the hour?
Well, I like the figuring out a way to have everybody get a fair shake. But, obviously, if you have sweat equity in the company, I think they deserve a little bit more, although I agree with Jeannie, who says, hey, you're all my kids. Everybody deserves to get taken care of. You're
just trying to pitch your parents on making sure you get more than your brother.
Well, it was interesting, though, because we said if one set of siblings is taking care of the business, the other's not involved at all. What if I'm a younger brother? My brother has been in the company for 5 years, but maybe I'm smarter, which I am. And so I hump in, I would probably get a reduced share, you think?
Oh, you're talking about if you actually entered the business with
your
brother. We didn't cover that one, but that's a good question. It depends on ownership. There's, obviously if your brother's there for 5 years longer, he has more sweat in the game, and so therefore he may have accrued a certain amount of ownership. But the way I've dealt with that in the past, and I've had that situation before, it's almost like having a 10-year vesting schedule. In other words, when you're there 10 years, your ownership even Stevens out. So in other words, if he's been there for 5 years, and 5 years he's accrued his full ownership, you still have 5 more years to put in order to get your full ownership. But it doesn't always work that way, because if one person has a, how do I say this tactfully, a more important role in the company, they may always have a higher percentage ownership. But I've had it the reverse. I've had it where the younger son comes in and is actually a little bit sharper than the older son, and they surpass them in ownership and income and everything else. But fortunately, in the cases that I've worked on, that was all okay with the older brother, who recognized that the younger brother was sharper than him.
Again, well, I think my brother would recognize that I'm the actual leader of the two. And
just tell him to call me. Just tell him to call me. I'll be able to take care of him. Okay, let's start today, speaking of businesses, with Jerry out in Boulder, Colorado, who asked me a question about business. Here is what Jerry had to ask. Hi, Ray. My wife stated to a small what is that? My wife stated to a small business working. Started. Okay.
She stated she started one.
Okay. My wife started a small business working from home, selling some stuff online, and we wanted to know if she should set up an LLC or an S corporation. What are the benefits of each? Okay, so here's the deal. An LLC has virtually no tax benefits. All right, so you don't start an LLC necessarily for tax benefits. Actually, there is one, but it gets too complicated. The subchapter S corporation does enable you to set up retirement plans where the money goes in pre-tax and pre-FICA if you're under the Social Security, Medicare, et cetera, wage base. So first and foremost, an LLC or a corporation is a protection against liability, to protect your personal assets if you get sued for something that you didn't have anything directly to do with. In other words, if I'm driving down the road and I run over somebody and kill them, I'm going to get sued personally. So I need to have other insurance coverage to cover that. But if one of my employees does that, I can protect my personal assets. If Bobby, while going to Staples to buy me boxes to put all of my articles in, hits somebody and kills them, I'm going to get sued. And my company's going to get sued. All right, now, if my company gets sued, I can protect my personal assets with either an LLC or a subchapter S corporation, as long as I do it correctly. Now, the tax benefits really accrue to the C or the sub S corporation. Usually it's a subchapter S corporation, where I can do a pass-through dividend. In other words, profits that pass through to me through the S corporation are not subject to FICA, not subject to Medicare. Profits in a sole proprietorship or an LLC, which is taxed just like a sole proprietorship, are subject to the 15.3% FICA Medicare costs. So there are instances where those that make less than, say, $120,000 per year in particular would save a considerable amount by putting money into retirement accounts, pre-tax, defined benefit, profit-sharing plans, non-deferral plans, because deferrals are all subject to FICA and Medicare. So I would suggest, Jerry, that you sit down with a really good CPA and a really good lawyer and explore the benefits. I will tell you this, in my experience, most of the individuals that have set up LLCs that are solo practitioners, don't have other partners, etc., are better served doing a subchapter S corporation. Very quickly on the LLC side, Bobby, you and I, and let's say Curtis, want to form some business together. We don't have Chris and Dave. They suck. All right? But you and I and Curtis want to set up a business, and I want the profits to go 98% me, 1% you, 1% Curtis, which is exactly the way I would set it up, by the way. An LLC will do that. An S corporation won't, because we would probably split a third, and a third. I won't have the ability to generate 98% of the profits to me. So I'd want to do an LLC to screw you guys out of your third, a third, and just give you a point each. All right? Because that's the kind of guy I am, right?
I quit.
No, seriously, if you want to divvy up the profits in an uneven way, an LLC is a little bit better. But from a tax benefit standpoint, there's no question the subchapter S is the better business entity to utilize. There you have it. I just blew the whole email segment on one email. I do that every day because these are not simple answers. They're not yes and no answers. Now, if you want to send me a simple one, that's a yes or a no, fine, I'm okay with that too. But it's kind of cool because I get a chance to explain things a little bit more. Coming up next hour, we'll get to Bob in Glendale, Charles in San Diego, maybe even do Robert over in Mercer Island, Washington. There's a pretty cool place. If you need me, you can email me at raylucia.com. And don't forget, if you're in the Portland area on May 30th, the Accredited Investor Summit, go to accreditedinvestorsummit.com. It's all free. Now go out and make it a great day. Bye-bye.
You're listening to The Ray Lucia Show, taking calls from across the nation and answering questions about your biggest financial challenges. Ray Lucia.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Deadly weather, Mississippi police killings. I'm Evan Haney. At least 2 people were killed, dozens injured, dozens more in a shelter in Van, Texas. Emergency official Chuck Allen reports on the massive damage in this town of 2,600.
Approximately 30% of the city of Van has suffered damages ranging from completely destroyed homes
to down trees and power lines.
Right now, the worst weather stretches from Austin to Baton Rouge. Well, the first police killed in Hattiesburg, Mississippi in over 30 years. Mayor Johnny Dupree says the death of the two officers is tragic, but he does not believe it is open season on police.
I believe that the vast majority of police officers in cities are just like Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I have to believe that, and I believe that. We have a fabulous city here. We have a great relationship.
A new FBI report shows 51 police officers killed in the line of duty last year. That's a lot more than the year before, but less than the 4-decade average of 60.